Thank you, brothers and sisters, for that welcome, and thank you for this opportunity to talk with you this evening. I thought a great deal about what's happening to our children in public schools. Now, most of the time when I come over here, that's what I talk to you about, because that's really where my life is centered. But it occurred to me that Alton's been in this struggle, and I'm very concerned about how we're progressing in it. So I thought a lot about it, sisters and brothers, and titled what I want to share with you tonight called Black People Still Don't Get It.
All right.
For some time now, I have been trying to get the idea over that Black people must take charge of their lives and those of their children. We can't leave this to other people to do, because they're not going to do it. And we cannot sit around wringing our hands and shaking our heads and talking. It's getting late, brothers and sisters, especially for our children. Now, when it gets to the point that the way we live is destructive and leads to our extermination, then we have to think about what has happened to our culture. And we need to take a long, serious look at our condition now.
Amen. Go right there. Go ahead.
If culture is the sum total of artifacts which any group accumulates in its struggle for survival and autonomy, then it's dynamic, because it's a struggle. It's not static. It doesn't stand still and never change. It changes with the condition, okay? Because as you try to survive and to be self-autonomous, and the conditions change that keep you from doing that, you change in order to combat those conditions. Am I making sense to you? Okay. Now, what is survival? I mean, you know what? Survival means that the group has to do at least three things. One, the group has to see that each individual member keeps himself or herself in good enough mental, moral, spiritual, and physical health long enough to reproduce that self and then take care of whatever you reproduce. That's the least. If you don't do that, the group dies. It's gone. Okay. So that's what survival means. In order to be self-autonomous, it means that the group has to have within its control the means to assure its survival.
All right.
You can't depend on nobody else to do that.
All right.
That's not going to happen. That's not the way the world works. Now, what are the chief obstacles to survival? Okay, let's just be real. What are they? One is nature. You got to have within the means of the group some way for the group to survive earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, whatever. All right? So nature is one. Other men and women who might want to take your land, water, means of survival.
All right.
And yourself.
All right.
You can't become no cotton picking drug addict, alcoholic, kill yourself.
All right. That's right.
Okay. Those are the obstacles. Now, the culture that we pass down from generation to generation is supposed to help the group to survive and to be self-autonomous. The major way that we pass this culture on is through what? Groups. Family, church, school, organizations like this.
All right.
Those are the means. Okay, now, unfortunately for us, we live in a country where the overriding values of the country are against us. For instance, these overriding values put in the positions of privilege people who are white,
All right.
people who are male, and people who are wealthy.
All right.
And these three groups dominate the society.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about teaching our children instrumental values like equality, liberty, fraternity, etc., we are talking about ordering those values under the institutional values of race, gender, and wealth, so that more white people get equality, liberty, and fraternity than black people, more men get equality, liberty, and fraternity than women, and more wealthy people get equality, liberty, and fraternity than poor people. You get it?
All right.
All right.
All right.
It doesn't do enough then, ladies and gentlemen, for us to teach our children about the instrumental values, if we don't teach them the impact of the institutional values on the distribution of the latter. Otherwise, our kids don't get the full message and don't know how to behave.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another live broadcast on the forecast. We back in the building. Shouts out to my brother DeMarcus in the building. What's going on, my brother? I'm glad you caught alive. It's been a minute since my brother, been on here, but appreciate you, my brother. My brother William Bell, I appreciate it. And you was the person I meant to shout out last time. And I said the person I couldn't remember, it was William Bell. So shouts out to my brother in the building, and shouts out to everybody else in the building. And today, I know we're gonna be on here. We here on time today, as far as I'm concerned, on Wednesday at 8:30. Our good sister Cassidra is out of town this week handling business, so she got to take care of business. So she's not gonna be on here this week, but she's gonna come back next week for sure, But I had to come and just come on here for a little while and holler at y'all. And even just to say, even with the lives with Cassidra, when we talking about real issues, I'm gonna get back to like how I was, when I was first started on here, even before I started doing all the lives. I know these two brothers was watching or on here on this channel since before I was doing lives, and I'll still do them, but when we do them, they're going to be more productive than all of the other stuff like it's been, So even going forward, we'll be more, I don't know the word, we'll be better about all of the stuff that we talk about, that we're on, So I appreciate all of y'all for listening and for coming on here. And shouts out to Cassidra. And by the way, y'all support Cassidra Realm in the Bush. Her stuff is still in the chat page. So she's out there making moves. So shouts out to her. So we just gonna come on here for a little while. This is the first thing I want to show you, let me see. All right, yeah, so I wanted to play this, because I was looking at this recently about the Glenville shootout, and brothers fighting back. It's just more so about
I'm
history.
asking for every.
And so we're gonna get back to the things that I want to talk about. All right,
Channel 3 News has obtained secret FBI documents on 3 of the most infamous days in Cleveland history. 50 years ago next week, a dramatic shootout left 10 dead and 15 wounded. It was called the Glenville Shootout. And those now declassified files, a new book, and some amazing interviews provide the bloody truth about what happened. I'm teaming up with the investigator Tom Meyer and producer Chris Canergiani for this exclusive 3-part report.
If you wandered outside your neighborhood,
No telling what would happen to you.
By the 1960s, Cleveland was a microcosm of racial division in America. Shababa Akili was a teenager.
Superior was a borderline. Many rebellions and stuff broke out in Cleveland along that border.
They were a time of intense struggle.
Adults felt the pressure too. Glenville resident Don Freeman was forced to live a double life, assembling the precursor to the Black Panther Party.
Yes, I was a teacher by day and a radical by night.
The bloody battle that erupted 50 years ago, in many ways, starts here at Corey Methodist Church. This former synagogue in the heart of Glenville attracted legendary speakers.
That church had Martin Luther King come there in 1963. A year later, Malcolm X came, and he gave his very famous "the ballot or bullet" speech there for the first time.
Akili and his friends were drawn to the self-defense message of Malcolm X.
He was not about any turn the other cheek kind of thing. And so
See, when they talk about all of this stuff, this is what they leave out, how most people, it wasn't just turn the other cheek kind of mentality with black people. That's the mentality that they push, right? We had common sense enough to know, like, well, sometimes you have to meet force with force, right? You fight fire with fire, right? All of that stuff, so they understood that. And more people gravitated towards that message.
Hadn't been a follower of Dr. King's because I saw it as not being effective against, racist violence.
Fred Evans attended the Malcolm X speech here and formed Black Nationalists of New Libya. Akili and his friends formed their own Black Power group.
And our organization was called the Afro-Set Black Nationalist Party for Self-Defense.
Right, see, this was, and these was all the groups before, like, the Black Panthers and all that became popular. And this brother here, he created the Black Nationalists of New Libya, right? So, and he taught self-defense, Fred Ahmad Evans, right? So, this brother was one of the leaders in the community who, reached out to the brothers, talked to the brothers, and understood what was up, right? They understood that they had to protect themselves in their own communities.
Akili and his friends formed their own Black Power group.
And our organization was called the Afro-Set Black Nationalist Party for Self-Defense. And so we armed all of our members.
Soon, they were monitored by the FBI.
I was on the list.
And I didn't even know who Jag or who was. I'm like 17, 18 years old, and here goes somebody signing some papers, putting me on some kind of security index so that if anything happened in America, keep him under close observation.
However, Martin Luther King had not given up on Cleveland. Carl Stokes was running for mayor, and King knew victory was vital.
And he worried that King would bring with him too much baggage and that he would alienate some of the white voters that he needed to get in 67. So he actually asked. And
see, here they are in the middle of a war, and the biggest threat they feel like, if anything happens, is those Negroes who just saying, like, look, we don't want our families and friends to get shot or harassed or discriminated against in our own communities, and they the biggest threat for that.
King not to come. King came anyway.
Many black residents in Glenville worried about police.
Johnson's commission on riots and crises in the cities has also said the same thing, that white cops don't come in black communities to quell riots and uprisings. They come in to kill.
Police didn't see it that way.
When I was out there working in uniform and stuff, we got along pretty well with most people.
But by then,
we were at war.
The fuse was lit.
So it was clear to us that, look, if we don't defend ourselves, we can't rely on anybody else to defend ourselves.
2 days later.
Right, you hear that? He was like, man, we can't rely on anybody else to defend ourselves when we in these situations. You know what I'm saying?
Clear to us that, look, if we don't defend ourselves, we can't rely on anybody else to defend ourselves.
2 days later, an ambush of police by Fred Ahmed's Black Nationalist group set off a powder keg.
The story needs to be told.
The main reason that this story has not really been told is everybody involved in it has a reason for burying it.
But now we are digging up that story. And as we mentioned, FBI documents on the shootout were recently declassified. and the investigator Tom Meyer has seen them. Hi, Tom.
Hey, Russ, these are just some of the 400 pages of records that had been kept secret for about 50 years. Now, some people believe they exposed the real truth about what happened, the shootout and the riots.
What happened was, right, I guess they're going to get into it a little bit, right? Now, this turned into a whole thing. I told you in there was more riots about other things, right? Because I know people go towards like the whole Martin Luther King thing, but like, no, it's like black people there's a reason why they had to break up the black family and separate the men and the women and have us arguing amongst ourselves and divided amongst ourselves. And, you know, because when we were just outside, you know, just doing things, right, you were a threat just by living, right? And so these brothers armed themselves, and then of course they got put on the terror. They would be called BIE, Black Identity Extremists. You know, they made the Black Identity Extremist list. You know what I'm saying? So they were watching them and all of that stuff. So, you know, I'll play the next part.
Tonight, dramatic new details in FBI files about a wild and deadly day in Cleveland. It was 50 years ago this Monday when 10 were killed, more than 15 wounded in a confrontation with black power groups. It's called the Glenville Shootout. The investigator Tom Myers says declassified records reveal what really happened that day and why.
I think that July 23rd, 1968 is one of the most infamous days in the city of Cleveland's history.
1968, J. Edgar Hoover's counterintelligence program, COINTELPRO, targeted black nationalists as a hate group.
Look at the FBI and COINTELPRO and J. Edgar Hoover. They actually conducted war against the black citizens.
All right, so, you know, of course they were on the COINTELPRO list, you know. And these was just like 16, 17-year-old young brothers out there who decided to arm themselves, right? Because they was like, well, if the police coming in here doing the killing and they supposed to be the ones stopping it, but they instigating it or jumping in and helping, we have to protect ourselves. So they armed themselves, right? And so they started using COINTELPRO and different things to even infiltrate their group, you know. And really they were just some young brothers who was just out there defending themselves, you know.
Targeted black nationalists as a hate group.
Look at the FBI and COINTELPRO and J. Edgar Hoover. They actually conducted war against the black citizens.
We examined dozens of declassified FBI documents. According to one agency memo, COINTELPRO was set up to prevent the coalition of militant black nationalist groups and prevent these militants from gaining respectability.
When the FBI wrote these files, they never expected that anyone would see them or see the light of day.
What used to be secret FBI documents are now for anyone to see. They're included in a book by Cleveland lawyer and author Jim Robinault. FBI files identified a number of black militants, including former Cleveland school teacher Don Freeman. COINTELPRO actually said he was a threat to national security.
If the police abuse you, you have not only the right, but the responsibility of defending yourself.
That was also the philosophy of Fred Ahmed Evans, a leader of a black militant group in Cleveland's Glenville neighborhood. Evans received thousands of dollars from a taxpayer-funded program to fight poverty called Cleveland Now. Instead of using the money to help those in need, he bought high-powered rifles and ammunition.
There was a...
Now, see, and this is one of the things, right? He was like, they was receiving funding from some kind of like probably a nonprofit kind of setup thing or however it worked back then. And they were receiving funding for some kind of thing against poverty, which he invested probably the most valuable thing that you can in the war against poverty, right? You know, you stop somebody from taking your stuff. So he used this money to arm the people around him to make sure that they had enough weapons to protect themselves. And then they would actually go out there and protect their communities, not only from outsiders, but from each other. You know, I got to throw that in there, but I ain't gonna go there. But especially from outsiders and the police, which they had no problem confronting back then. You know, it was no cell phones. So they used, I guess, the next best thing, which was strapped up, you know.
The absolute purpose to ambush the police and kill as many as they could.
With the help of FBI informants, Cleveland police were tipped off. Instead of using the money to help those in need, he bought high-powered rifles and ammunition.
There was an absolute purpose to ambush the police and kill as many as they could.
With the help of FBI informants, Cleveland police were tipped off about the weapons. So they watched Evans closely, setting up surveillance in this area about a block from Evans' apartment, which is now gone.
It was pretty ridiculous. You got these white guys in unmarked police cars. I mean, it was a joke. And 90% of the neighborhood's black, and you got these white guys in his car. And
Evans feared they were about to be attacked by police. About 15 armed militants burst from Evans' home. The stakeout cars made clean getaways, but minutes later, a city tow truck arrived at this location to remove an abandoned vehicle. The truck, with flashing lights and the words Cleveland Police Department marked on the side, was shot at along with its operators.
Wait, so, you know, and they kind of breezed over it, but so these brothers was in the house, you know what I'm saying, doing what they do, minding their own business. When these COINTELPRO things, they used to sit there and watch them and listen to them. Now we get online, and it's easier for them to monitor us online since we put everything out there anyway. But these brothers saw them outside, and so he was like, man, we better go out there and see what's up. And so they sped off. And then a couple minutes later, this tow truck driver came, you know. But and this is the thing, right? They're trying to say, well, he was just a tow truck driver, but he was driving a a tow truck that belonged to the city as a city vehicle in police uniforms, right? And they're trying to act like, oh, this is just a tow. No, he was the police, and you know they was messing with him.
Similar uniforms as cops.
Somebody started shooting at me with a shotgun. They hit me twice in the back, and I started running, and they hit me again.
Suddenly, all hell broke loose.
It seemed like they surrounded us. They were shooting at us from both sides with shotguns. They were come from everywhere. I never seen so many guns in my life.
Except for the ones he has, of course. Now, mind you, he's telling this story, right? He's not somebody telling the story about how he is gone, right? How they got him, right? He's sitting there telling the story about how they're doing all of this, you know? Keep that in mind. But anyway.
It seemed like they surrounded us. They were shooting at us from both sides with shotguns. They were come from everywhere. I never seen so many guns in my life.
This was as chaotic can be.
Former patrolman Leonard Sims was one of many officers who responded. At least 30 gunshots struck his car.
It started over something that didn't make sense.
It don't make sense, huh? It don't make sense. It never do, huh?
They know they couldn't overthrow the police department. They decided they could.
When Jerry Viola and his partner arrived, they also came under heavy fire.
Yeah, did they decide they can protect themselves?
And you could hear automatic weapon fire.
Older brother, you know, who was on the other side, apparently.
Rookie cop Pete Ventura was in the thick of it, shooting it out with black militants, storming Evans' home, and rescuing wounded officers. The hour-long gun battle resulted in 10 killed.
They always trying to make them sound like John McClane or something, like, oh, he was diving over cars and ducking bullets and dragged 10 people out of there. And like, he was probably running for his life, you know what I'm saying, scared to death.
Including 3 police officers and 15 wounded. Ventura was the first to make contact with Evans when he surrendered.
You wait home to you. He says, if my gun went to jam, he says, I'd have killed you, more of you.
The gun battle triggered the city's second riot in only 2.
See, and that story don't make, he was like, yo, when he was surrendering to them, if my gun hadn't jammed, I'd kill more. He wouldn't, like, that, you know.
2 years. The shooting it out with black militants, storming Evans' home, and rescuing wounded officers. The hour-long gun battle resulted in 10 killed, including 3 police officers and 15 wounded. Ventura was the first to make contact with Evans when he surrendered.
You wait home to you. He says, if my gun went in the jam, he says, I'd have killed you, more of you.
The gun battle triggered the city's second riot in only 2 years. The Glenville neighborhood was set on fire. Firefighters were shot at while trying to do their job. Carl Stokes, the country's
trying to do their job. And here we are, the first one of the first black cops, and here we is one of the first black mayors, Carl Stokes. But hold on, let me say this.
To you, he says, if my gun went in the jam, he says, I'd have killed you, more of you.
The gun battle triggered the city's second riot in only 2 years.
Now, the whole thing is, right, they're full of it though, you know, because according to the brother Fred Ahmad Evans, you know, he said they were out actually patrolling the neighborhood when they heard the first shot, which probably came from the police. And the first person to be killed was one of their people. You know what I'm saying? A brother was the first one to be killed by the police. And so then, you know, they started defending themselves, right? And so they got into, you know, a big shootout with the police, you know, and all of that. But then when the people heard about what happened, they went to the streets, right? They was like, nah, enough is enough, you know, because they already knew what was up. They're trying to make it seem like these cops was heroes and all of this nonsense when it really started because of police brutality. And they were mad because they was protecting themselves the whole time. And they, of course, they're going to portray it a different way, you know. But once black people heard about it, they started setting everything on fire. And then you're like, oh, well, the firefighters trying to do their job. But they don't tell you about a lot of these old firefighters. Like, they would leave them in the house and, like, you know, just like no different from a cop, you know. And so
battle triggered the city's second riot in only 2 years. The Glenville neighborhood was set on fire. Firefighters were shot at while trying to do their job. Carl Stokes, the country's first black big city mayor, called in the National Guard. 34 buildings and 63 businesses destroyed in 2 days. $18 million in damage in today's dollars. And yet, some militants tried to justify the rioting.
What do you mean? I guess I'm still trying to justify it. Now, this mayor here, right? So he met with city officials, right? And then black quote unquote leaders to stop it. And so what he did was pulled all of the white police out of the black communities and brought in all of the black people, like who could patrol the area, along with volunteers and community leaders to patrol their own neighborhoods. But the redneck cops got mad at this dude, you know what I'm saying? And they started questioning him. I guess they was about to take his job. So the next day he sent the National Guard back in there, who continued to start harassing them. And then when they talk about all these black political leaders and they trying to maintain their position, like, well, the black leaders, the last of them, felt betrayed by this black mayor who we say like, oh, well, this will change it once we get people in office. But are they really there for the people? Or are they there for themselves? Because when they start getting the heat, he switched all the way up. You understand? And then when they say they burnt down their own neighborhoods, it wasn't their own neighborhoods. Okay. This is Glenville, Ohio. It's like Cleveland, Ohio, and this was 1968. This was like 2 months or so about after Martin Luther King got killed. What up, Chris? So this was going on 2 months after Martin Luther King got killed, right? And this was like, you know, the first black mayor. And of course, he had to switch it up. And when they say the black-owned businesses, oh, they showed their own communities, it wasn't. It was the white-owned businesses that was in their community that they made sure to get out of there, that they were targeting it. See, like, it's more than one way to just not shop there. They was like, man, let's just tear it down, you know? So it wasn't just like they was wilding out, but that's how the media from 50 years later still covers it. Yeah, Cleveland, definitely a large black population, right?
Big city mayor called in the National Guard. 34 buildings and 63 businesses destroyed in 2 days. $18 million in damage in today's dollars. And yet, some militants tried to justify the rioting.
And looting and burning will continue as long as the white merchants are in the community exploiting the black community.
Stokes took a lot of heat for ordering.
Let's play one more time, right?
Militants tried to justify the rioting.
And looting and burning will continue as long as the white merchants are in the community exploiting the black community.
Stokes took a lot of heat for ordering all white cops to stay out of the riot area. But Robenal said it was a smart move.
I think it saved a lot of lives because I think there were a lot of people in high retribution mode.
They was tearing them cops up out there, right? As they wasn't just like whatever. They was protect, and it wasn't necessarily about Martin Luther King. That's what I was trying to say. Like, more violence occurred, or they call it violence, but it's really just standing up for yourself before his death. And so you try to do something, then you're going to be on that watch list. But these brothers confronted the people, and this is what happened. And then the community actually came out and had their back. It's some of the last black leaders out here.
Been attacked, ambushed.
Ahmed Evans was convicted of murder and sentenced to death. He was in prison for 9 years when he died of cancer. Racism and poverty triggered the shootout. So what's changed in 50 years? Part 3 tomorrow night.
All right, so you don't have to see part 3. We living in 50 years later, right? Tamir Rice is 50 years later, right? Probably to the day, right? That's 50 years later. But I don't know. Let me see the part here. I want to hear it one more time. I forgot where it was.
Guns, they were come from
something that didn't make sense.
Automatic weapon fired.
Rookie cop Pete Ventura was in the thick of it, shooting it out with black militants, storming Evans' home, and rescuing wounded officers. The hour like with Evans when he surrendered.
You wait, honky, you. He
Hey,
said,
here you go. This is the part I wanted to play.
You wait, honky, you. He says, if my gun went to jam, he says, I'd have killed you, more of you.
The gun battle.
Oh, my bad. Hold on one more time.
He says, if my gun went to jam, he says, I'd have killed you, more of you.
The militants tried to justify the rioting.
And looting and burning will continue as long as the white merchants are in the community exploiting the black community.
Stokes took a lot of heat.
All right, facts. Oh, yo, what's going on, my brother Anthony? This is a different one though, but this is like probably a few days later down in Miami.
Late in the afternoon, young people moved into the street and began throwing rocks at passing cars. Police were sent in, but the trouble spread. The trouble began again. A fire was touched off on a supermarket.
And see, this is why, like, all of these COINTELPRO and all of that. Yeah, Fred Ahmad Evans was the man. And this is why all of these COINTEL, like, they had to make us divided and arguing and not liking each other and doing, because these was regular brothers and sisters. They was just like out there having respect, standing up for each other, you know what I'm saying, and doing what they do. And rednecks try to ride through, get lumped up like this fool here, you know what I'm saying? And they're trying to be like, oh, they tear up their own city. It ain't none of it's their property where they are taking advantage of them. That's a part of the reason why they're destroying it. A lot of the shyster owners, but white business owners, period, you know.
The area and asked the crowds to cool it. They were told it would be quiet only when the police left. A semi-trailer truck stalled at an intersection and a firebomb was thrown under it, setting it on fire. By mid-afternoon, police crouched behind a line of squad cars and exchanged shots with a sniper in an apartment complex. One man shouted, "I got a cause, I got a cause."
Right. He said, I shot it, I got a cause, I got a cause. Also, I have to play this. My brother Anthony just showed up in the building. I didn't know this yesterday. Apparently it was Christopher Dorner Day, so you know, gotta show homage to my brother out here. You know.
Well, 10 News has found this is brand new video tonight showing accused triple murderer Christopher Dorner shooting guns during his extensive training at the Los Angeles Police Academy. Well, that search for Dorner is still going strong at this hour, even though the ground crews at Big Bear were forced to scale back tonight. And we'll have a live report from Big Bear in just a moment. But first, 10 News reporter Dan Haggerty shows us the techniques used by Dorner, which have law enforcement across the state so concerned.
This is Christopher Dorner in 2005 as an LAPD cadet. The man who shot the video decided to talk, but wouldn't show his face or use his real voice. He spent months with Dorner at this training facility, and he doesn't want this story to make him a target.
Well, he's an expert with weapons.
See, this is what happens when it's reversed, right? They use COINTELPRO to get into your groups and your organizations, because best believe that brother Ahmaud Evans had snitches in his organization, right? That's what the COINTELPRO did with his organization. And that's how they found out that he used money to arm his community. That's the best thing to do to stop, you know, fighting. Oh, yo, shouts out to CassidraCheek. Yeah, I'm not too, I haven't been on too long, but, you know, definitely, I'll send you this other part about the Glenville riots and this brother here. Because this brother, and then they go and do an interview in front of the guns they say he bought for the community. But this brother did it in reverse. I guess he went into their stuff and did that. That's what happens when the spook that sat by the door is used properly, I guess, you know.
Story to make him a target.
Well, he's an expert with weapons, definitely. He's definitely dangerous.
The man says Dorner stood out at the academy. This video shows his strength, dragging a dummy meant to simulate a person's dead weight. He picks it up, runs backwards, and swings it with ease. But the man says drill instructors were hard on Dorner at times, picking on him for his weight.
When I hear about how angry he is about the LAPD, matches up to the way I think he had his experience through the LAPD, especially the academy.
An academy that taught Dorner how to use an arsenal of weapons.
And by the way, shouts out to Cassidra, you know what I'm saying? We be back on next week. Cassidra gonna be back in the building next week, you know.
In his manifesto, he claims to have explosives, high-capacity clips, and a .50 caliber rifle with bullets that can slice through a car, not to mention police body armor. This YouTube video shows the gun's power. The bullet rips right through a 3-inch thick piece of steel. Investigators hope to find some of these weapons at Dorner's home in Las Vegas, but they found nothing.
The LAPD they're gonna be going after one of their own former, and he knows what like I said, he knows what he's doing. I mean, this guy is no joke.
Dan Haggerty, 10 News.
He knows what he was doing. Hold on, let's see a little more. Let's see.
Southern California and the Los Angeles Police Department is under siege. 10,000 law enforcement officers are conducting door-to-door searches.
They said 10,000. 10,000 cops for just one brother. Yeah, they.
Police Department is under siege. 10,000 law enforcement officers are conducting door-to-door searches for one of their own, a fugitive ex-cop. 33-year-old Christopher Jordan Dorner is suspected of killing 3 people in a terrifying rampage after making claims in a bizarre online manifesto that he was unjustly fired by the LAPD and needs to clear his name. In a police department with a storied and troubled history, they have never seen anything like this before. Here's ABC's David Wright with the latest.
Control all units, feed info, reference 1199 for LAPD.
Over the past 24 hours, a deadly manhunt across this whole region.
Suspect vehicle still outstanding. It's a black Nissan Titan.
Police officers hunting one of their own, a rogue former officer now accused of hunting them.
Of course he knows what he's doing, and we trained him. He was also a member of the armed forces. It is extremely worrisome and scary, especially to the police officers involved.
It all started Sunday with a grisly double homicide. 28-year-old Monica Kwan and her fiancé, Keith Lawrence, shot at close range as they sat in their car. A murder with no apparent motive. The couple had no known enemies. Kwan was a popular college basketball coach.
He shot a bunch of cops. They was doing a whole bunch of racist stuff to him, and then he was like, yeah, this for my people. And did what, heroes do. You know what I'm saying? No, he took them out, you know what I'm saying? He definitely did,
She was our team leader in the team. She was always there to help pick somebody else up and unselfish. And
yeah, they were harassing him.
She's gonna be so missed.
Only last night did Irvine police say they put 2 and 2 together.
Today, we have identified Christopher Jordan Dorner as a suspect in this double homicide.
33-year-old Christopher Dorner, a lieutenant in the U.S. Navy Reserves, honorably discharged just last Friday, fired 4 years ago by the LAPD. Police claim he bore a grudge against a retired LA police captain, Randy Kwan, Monica's father, as well as other LAPD officers.
Of particular interest at this point in the investigation is a multi-page manifesto in which the suspect has implicated himself in the slayings.
In a rambling manifesto posted online, Dorner blames Kwan and other LAPD officers of a smear campaign after Dorner reported witnessing a fellow officer commit police brutality. The manifesto vows vengeance. I will bring unconventional and asymmetrical warfare to those in LAPD uniform, whether on or off duty.
And that's just an elegant way of saying justice, you know what I'm saying? Unconventional and asymmetrical. I'm gonna start saying that. That just means justice, right?
If you read his manifesto, this is a very, LAPD is a specific target, but all law enforcement is targeted.
It appears to be no idle threat. Today, the story played out with all the intensity of a Hollywood action thriller. LA Confidential meets Cape Fear.
Talk to me, I'm staying in here!
Except that this drama was real and deadly. At 10 o'clock last night, police say a man fitting Dorner's description tried to steal a boat in San Diego.
He pointed a handgun at the victim, who's an 81-year-old male, and demanded the boat.
He was unsuccessful. Later, Dorner's LAPD badge was found nearby. 1:25 a.m., Corona, an hour east of LA. Police officers acting on a tip exchanged gunfire with a man they believed to be Dorner. The officer was grazed by the bullet, unable to pursue. 1:45, Riverside. 2 more officers on a protective detail ambushed. 1 killed, the other seriously injured. By sunrise, jittery LA police officers opened fire on this blue truck in Torrance, similar to the suspect's vehicle. But the people inside were just innocent bystanders.
Tragically, we believe that this was a case of mistaken identity by the officers.
It's right off our kind of 11 o'clock.
Late this afternoon, police set up a command post in the mountains northeast of LA, where a truck had been set ablaze. That truck turned out to be Dorner's, but the suspect was nowhere to be found.
The aerial, ground, and
lied, apparently in reference to his dismissal from the LAPD in 2008.
There are indications he may have reason to be angry. I'm not an aspiring rapper. I'm not a gang member. I'm not a dope dealer, Dorner writes in his manifesto. I am a man who has lost complete faith in the system when the system betrayed, slandered, and libeled me.
And the crazy part is I have complete faith in the system. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it's supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm like, yo, it has to be destroyed. I got faith that it's going to do what it does because that's just what it does. It didn't betray us. It was designed to run off of our bloodshed. You know what I'm saying? Our blood is money. You know, it's valuable. And of course, you can take all of our stuff and that too, the resources and stuff like that.
Faith in the system when the system betrayed, slandered, and libeled me. The manic account of his firing given in that manifesto is told more soberly in court documents filed in connection with a wrongful termination suit. In both, Dorner claims the LAPD fired him after he reported having witnessed his superior using a taser on a mentally ill suspect. Then he said seeing the superior handcuff the suspect and kick him in the chest and face. The suspect, Christopher Gettler, and his father offered testimony corroborating Dorner's account at the time, but the father now says he wasn't surprised that the review board ended up rejecting Dorner's claims.
I even told him, I go, what is wrong with you? You know, you don't testify against your fellow officers, the Three Musketeers. You know, what were you thinking?
The official grounds for Dorner's firing, providing false testimony in an investigation. The police chief at the time was Bill Breton.
I really have no recollection of his particular case. He would have been fired by me, and then in that I was chief of police at that time and would have had to approve his discharge.
Of course, even if Dorner were wrongly dismissed, that's no justification for murder or targeting his enemy's family.
He is narcissistic.
He doesn't represent all of us. He certainly doesn't represent me. I would never do such a thing. You can call me N-word to my face, and let me chill out. I'm not going to do the negative stuff. I'm going to try to chill out on the negative stuff with y'all. All right.
Narcissistic. He is grandiose.
Among the more chilling statements in the manifesto, when the truth comes out, the killing stops. But today, LA police rejected any suggestion they review his allegations.
It is not going to happen.
Dorner's manifesto indicates he is prepared to die. If they do manage to find him, don't be surprised if the LAPD obliges.
If they manage to find him, it's not. See, I'm not gonna go there, but I guess I should. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. I'm like when they stand up like, well, I'm Christopher Dorner. Then you stand up, I'm Christopher Dorner. And then you stand up, I'm Christopher Dorner. Or like, will they ever find him? And no, they won't, because Christopher Dorner is an energy, you know. So shouts out to him. It was his birthday yesterday. So appreciate my brother Anthony for putting it out there. Yeah, got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And maybe that makes him healthy, you know what I'm saying? He was like, that was a sane thing to do. He was like, man, I'll never get justice. I've tried to report it. I'm a cop, for Christ's sake. I have friends. I've done everything by the book, you know. And then they still did all of that to him. No, well, they got, you know, they got him, but did they really get him? Is the question, you know what I'm saying, that we should be asking ourselves. Well, they found this physical manifestation of him, but anyway, so shouts out to that brother for his birthday. And that brings us to this, what I want to talk about real quick. Is this the one with the black cop on it? Because the black cop on here said something interesting.
That.
He said, I don't understand why.
Nationalist Party for Self-Defense. King not to come. King came anyway.
Many black residents in Glenville worried about police.
Johnson's commission.
I don't know what a black cop is, but
Documents are now Freeman. COINTELPRO actually said he was a threat to national security. Now,
about a block from Evans' apartment, which is now gone.
White guy's in his car.
Minutes later,
marked on the side.
Damn, I don't know what a black cop. Here we go.
They know.
Yeah, because what he says is interesting here.
Who responded? At least 30 gunshots struck his car.
It started over something that didn't make sense. They know they couldn't overthrow the police department.
See, this is what he's saying, right? Even with the brother Christopher Dorner, he was like, it don't make sense, because as a group, it's like, we don't get it. We don't understand, right? You can't go through the system that is meant for your bloodshed, your death and destruction, for it to be then help you or get you out of whatever, right? Something like these brothers were saying, sometimes the only time you got to do is defend yourself, right? But lately we have, you know, like, this is the mindset here, you know, I'm playing this brother here.
What we do for white people to hate us? What did we do for white people to hate us so much? Like for real, I never understood racism. I never understood it. Like, how the hell are you mad because I'm black? like I can control this. Like this is what it is. What? How are you mad I'm black? We live on planet Earth. The sun shines on this planet. It's hot as.
See, yo, I think we only understand tribalism for ourselves, right? Amongst ourselves. But groups is going to try to compete, right? First of all, they come from a sick, degrading culture of murder, rape, and all of that stuff. We know about the, you know what I'm saying, dark ages, quote unquote, and European culture. We know about how they are, you know what I'm saying? So that's just they do it to each other, right? They'll kill each other because one of them got like red hair and freckles or something, right? And we don't understand that this is like here a competition, and you ain't gonna get no help other than your damn self, unless you protecting yourself, right? Or having do something to protect your own community. We don't understand this, and then we repeat the cycle of trying to like find some kind of savior or somebody to come and help us or to save us. We just don't understand. Well, I've never understood it. I don't get it. But yeah, we try to educate everybody else on what is racism and all that. We need the education on what it is, right? Because we think it's an insult if somebody call you that.
The sun shines on this planet. It's hot as hell. Where my skin half color? Why would my skin half this tone? My question be, why the hell is your skin not that color? Why the hell don't you got color? The sun shining like a. Why when you stand in the sun, you get some. It be so many questions. I just don't understand it. It's 2024. We still deal with it. Like, what do? Y'all need to grow the. Because racism ain't it.
Racism ain't it. I'm anti-racist, right? That's what you would hear a lot of the mentality for real on the general public these days, right? We would be like, oh well, or distance ourselves from somebody like Christopher Dorner, or try to be like, oh well, you know, he was a crazy N-word, like that cop said. That's why he probably joined the cop and be like that cop on Boys in the Hood, like, oh yeah, or Bernie Mac was imitating like, oh, I hate you because you're black, you know what I'm saying? I hate you, whatever, because you're black. That's why you see a lot of that mentality come from, and a lot of that self-hate, because we really don't understand, right, that this is necessary to keep your resources, to keep you in their workforce, their system. Because even when you left their system as just workers, it kind of collapsed, let alone as consumers. It kind of collapses, right? That's the whole purpose why it's definitely needed, so that their group can maintain dominance. Why would anybody not want to do that? And the only way that you can do that is to understand that it's okay to protect yourself.
That ain't it. You know, man, y'all love it when we dribbling a basketball. We throwing a football. We in the booth rapping. Y'all love that part. Woo! But when y'all see it, it's just like, oh my gosh. Like, what the we do?
Because you Negroes shut up and dribble. As long as you shut up and dribble. That's what they would be saying, not me. It's not my words. It's their words. Shut up and dribble. But unfortunately, it's the fact that they make so much money from us shutting up and actually dribbling. Now we'll be like, oh, I say a little bit now, but I ain't gonna say too much because I get a little bit of money. But ultimately, you know what I'm saying, if they pay you so much, think about how much money they're getting to pay you that to shut the hell up and dribble, right? When you could actually cut the middleman out in the first place.
We should be doing that.
And he's right.
All right. He's not right, by the way. He doesn't understand. He didn't say anything, but I don't understand. But I want you to see, like, even with this little
skin color, but other ones.
Well, you can't do that.
All right, hold on. All right, even with the young ones of them, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go far because I know, but you sit there and try to teach them this and teach them that. Now she thinks her little daughter has a little white girlfriend, but the little white girl saying, well, I hate this black, quote unquote, black family member. He's probably a biracial person, but And she was like, yo, I hate this N-word in my family. And this black mother gonna sit there and try to talk to her about it, educate, when the black mother is the one, the 7-year-old should be educating her on that. Like, why are you over here, little you know, little Neanderthal girl?
So you can't do that, okay? So just because he black, you can't say that y'all don't. So y'all don't like black people?
Not y'all skin color, but other ones.
Not like y'all. Y'all's the good ones. Y'all's cool, but it's the other ones that's pisses me off. She don't even know why she just, it's her blood, isn't her? Y'all don't. Okay, I'm not gonna go there, but you know, a little Neanderthal girl. I know people don't like when I say that, but y'all have to gotta get comfortable with the idea that it doesn't matter if it's like 99 or 1. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter about my feelings or your feelings or their feelings or any of that, right? Because that's why we don't get it, right? We don't get it, and she's trying to teach her something that she doesn't get in her own right, you know.
Well, you can't do that, okay? Because that's called hatred.
Oh wow.
So you cannot not like black people, okay? It doesn't matter if they're our skin color or not. You cannot say that you don't like black people of any skin color, okay? Because Elena is black. Okay.
Now she's probably a mixed little girl, to be honest with you. But all right, that's another conversation of disrespecting blackness. But I don't know, so I'm not gonna say
your
that.
friend is black. That's racist. That's teaching hate. And you don't want to grow up like that. You hear me? You're a beautiful, young, smart, intelligent woman.
Kind,
young lady.
Smart. Use important. No, use little. Use dumb. Nobody cares about you when you're a little born to be who you are, Neanderthal little girl, right? She hit her with the you kind, you smart, you's important.
Young, smart, intelligent woman, and you young lady, and you don't live by color, okay?
We try, and hopefully maybe one day it'll be true, you know. But we don't. But the problem with this mindset is that when we teach our children this stuff, that we got like friends and you just gotta love and everybody's cool, you know, that mentality. And I'm not saying, I'm just talking about for those who do. I'm not saying any percentage of people does or doesn't have this mentality, but unfortunately, because we saw what the results were 50 years ago when Tamir Rice, what happened in the city would be on fire, and they would also go out. If one of us go out, some of them had to go out, right? But now it's like, oh no, we just write them a strongly worded letter or something like that. I don't know. But even sending them to, you know, their schools, like Miss Barbara Sizemore was saying at the beginning about educating your children. But this is the thing, this is why they had to start doing that, because you notice that those was the last of the generations that had black teachers, black men role models, people telling them, oh yeah, black and beautiful, you're all right. You know, we did that for ourselves. We ain't go around telling kids you kind, you smart, you important. We did it for ourselves, right? And we saw the results of black people standing up for themselves, right? If we go out, you go out, right? So then it started getting to some diluted mentality of where and this is one of the things they probably study with COINTELPRO. I'm sure they got some updated version that they don't even have to use yet. They are waiting until we figure out the old world order, you know what I'm saying, before we go to the new world order. I'm pretty sure they got it, but we haven't figured out the old world order yet. Instead, we have allowed ourselves to be divided and to send our children into like situations like this. And this happens like all the time. It's like repeated thing that happens like every year. I don't understand.
Tonight with an investigation into two different racist incidents at a Southborough school tonight, and a teacher is on leave. Thank you for joining us. I'm Courtney Cole. The decision comes after accusations that a fifth.
I definitely hate what is going on. And by the way, I love myself enough not to put up with the nonsense. How about I love myself first and foremost? And yeah, I hate what you're doing. I don't give a damn about them. When you start crossing my boundaries, now we got a problem. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing here. You know, that's why it has to be gone. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. You know what I'm saying? In the words of Khalid Muhammad, while the children, you know, this is why.
Fifth grade teacher held a mock slave auction and used a racial slur during class. WBC's Brandon Truitt joins us live tonight outside of that school. And Brandon, there are still questions about the timeline of these incidents.
Yeah, Courtney, we're describing two different incidents that happened months apart, and it's that space in between them that is really concerning parents here tonight, and the school district is now apologizing.
It is shocking, very sad. Like, I couldn't believe it. I had to show my husband. I'm like, look at this. Like, this is crazy.
The details are so shocking. It's almost hard to believe. A Southborough teacher accused of two racist incidents.
How is it shocking? Or I know it's news and it's not black people, but this is Massachusetts and Boston. Right? It's like 3 or 4 of these every year. It's like they do it for like attention, I guess, at this point. But like, it's not even them. It's subjecting ourselves to this nonsense of thinking that, see, we don't understand what racism really is, like the competition to control and own our own resources so that nobody can take or do anything to us. Right? And you owe me for what you have done, so you have to pay up, right? And they are, and you know, already come from their mindset of, you know, just violence and murder, and that's just what they do, thugs and savages. But anyway.
In the classroom, the first back in January, when the 5th grade teacher had a lesson on slavery. The superintendent said in a letter to parents, and I'm quoting, during the lesson, the educator held an impromptu mock slave auction. The educator asked 2 children sitting in the front of the room who were of color to stand, and the educator in class discussed physical attributes.
Now, see, people skipped over the sickest part of that whole thing. Right. So, of course, the of color, whatever that means. But these educators is talking about their physical attributes, like what they're talking about their butts, or I know they're little kids, so they're not even developed. But like, I'm like, these teachers should probably be brought up on like other charges, right? But that's their culture. So it's like, oh yeah, well, we're going to skip over this part. It's just that they were actually doing it out loud. But it was like they discussed their physical attributes, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what that means, you know. And I hope it wasn't like little girls in that class, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
But Superintendent Gregory Martineau says he wasn't informed about it until a second incident involving the same teacher months later. That's when he says the teacher read a book to the 5th grade class and inserted the N-word into the text. Parents started speaking up, and it got the attention of the superintendent. 3 months after the original incident.
It was appalling to see that the principal stood by and didn't take any action. Second time the same teacher did that.
It happened in January. We just got the news. It is shocking to hear this. Just last night we didn't know about the incident.
That delay prompting the superintendent to apologize this week, saying, quote, I acknowledged that there were missteps in this process that further complicated the situation. Ultimately, I am responsible for ensuring students are in a safe and supportive learning environment. This is not unheard of in Massachusetts. In March, students in a Southwick school held a similar mock slave trade.
It's like, oh, this is unheard of, shocking. And then at the end, oh, well, this is not unheard of. Just last week, there was another one.
In a Southwick school held a similar mock slave trade. Authorities there are pursuing criminal charges.
I'm like worried for my kid, like getting to that.
I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, they always not. But that's because who are the only ones that's going to hold them accountable, right? We can't expect them to hold themselves accountable. And speaking of Black Panthers, you know, that's for me. It shows that I'm on the right track with just in my own thing. But with the Black Panthers, they showed up to the school board, right? So I'm gonna just play this just because.
This threat must be taken seriously. This threat was to kill. It isn't just a threat to Black children, although it was a directed threat to Black children, it is a threat to all children. Because when that child comes to that school to carry...
So a little white kid threatened to go to a school to like kill Black children or something like that.
Black children, it is a threat to all children. Because when that child comes to that school to carry out those threats or has her family members, friends, or the KKK that one of the students has warned you about already this evening, come out and carry out those threats, all children are in danger because, as you know, bullets have no name.
But they do have... All right, I'm gonna not do
these reports are not just from Black people, but white people as well. When will you realize you have a gigantic racial problem in your school and community? Do you not hear the cries of the people here?
So my question, and this is where Cassidra would be great here, right? So when he's sitting there talking about, so I'm not even going to say it because we all know what Cassidra is going to say here, right? When he talking about, do you not hear the cries of your children? Do you not hear the cries of your children? Like, you not get it. You got all of these brothers right here or sisters, you know what I'm saying? Which is lovely, which is great. That's the part which should be commended. And that's the thing. It's okay to like also say the positives about things too, right? Because we need to show the positive, say the positives about each other too, right? So it's commendable that they would even show up in the first place and that they would come looking like this, you know what I'm saying? This is commendable, and we want to give a shout out to that. But also, as in the words of Barbara Sizemore, we just don't get it, do we?
School and community. Do you not hear the cries of the people here? Don't let it fall on deaf ears. Those that don't see it don't want to see it, or can't because they aren't the targets of this racial activity.
They don't know, they don't show, they don't care what's going on with us, cuz. Anyway.
A 3-day suspension is not enough. This young lady should be expelled from the...
So it was a little Neanderthal girl like the other one who was just talking about what a sister was trying to tell her don't hate, who wrote in, I guess, a letter or something threatening to kill Black children, and they suspended her for 3 days, right? 3-day suspension, right? And so here's the strongly worded letter in response that we usually write, you know what I'm saying, where we educate everybody else. No disrespect, you know, to him. That's just a frustration I had. I had to take it back, you know.
This young lady should be expelled from for the safety of all the children in this school. You all need to do what's right, and if you can't do what's right by these children, then it may be time for us to take action, a community, and get some different people in those seats.
Oh boy. Or
we demand justice, and that starts with her expulsion. All power to the people.
Power to certain people.
And that starts with her expulsion. All power to the people. All power to the people. All power to the people.
Thank you. Yeah, just my people though. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But and speaking of schools, you know, this is just kind of funny to me, right? In Chicago, the teachers union
spent some time today tackling the challenges of dealing with migrant students.
A teachers union right? I don't know if they like trolling or whatever, but they want federal help, but I think it like passed or something. But they put in their
Chicago teachers spent some time today tackling the challenges of dealing with migrant students at neighborhood schools. Some 200 new migrant children are enrolled at Cameron Elementary alone. Teachers are asking for federal help.
Chicago has always been a city of migrants, and we have practice in receiving new immigrants in this country. What is different now is the level of need.
Members of the Chicago Teachers Union gathered for a roundtable today with local and national education leaders. They would like to see more Spanish language resources to make sure the migrants are getting a quality education. They are also asking.
Yeah, no hablo. I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, speaking of, them and all of that.
Critics say in North Carolina.
This was, them and their culture here, right? So they want a bill and all of this because the brother at the beginning was like, we don't get it and all of that. But
critics say a North Carolina bill to ban face masks in public
spaces
no change is unfair to people with health problems. That is one of the reasons the bill stalled today at the Capitol. On social media, some people are also claiming that the bill includes carve-outs for groups like the KKK. Paul Spey checks that claim now for PolitiFact.
Did state lawmakers just introduce a bill that would allow the KKK to wear masks in public? That's what one person posted on social media the other day. You can see it here. They said North Carolina's bill would ban immunocompromised people from wearing masks. And at the same time, in that same bill, has a specific carve out for entities like the KKK. Now, North Carolina has actually banned people from wearing masks in public for a long time. But then during the COVID pandemic, state lawmakers added an exemption. They let people start wearing masks for health reasons. This bill, as you can see down here, would strike that exemption from the law. We've reported.
And, this is North Carolina, so and then in North Carolina, I guess if you wear a mask, like one of those safety masks or whatever, then it's like a bill where you can't do that. But if you wear a Klan hood, then you're good.
In this part of the bill already. So let's focus on the claim about the KKK. Does the bill include a specific carve out for that group? No, that's pretty misleading. This bill doesn't mention the KKK at all. It also doesn't include any new carve-out for the KKK or similar groups. The bill does reference existing exemptions that allow people to wear masks if they're members of a society that uses hoods as part of the rituals. Now,
well, that's the KKK. You're like, no, it doesn't, except for the part where it says organization that allows you to wear hoods for ritual purposes. You're like, allows you to burn crosses on people's yards. Like, what are you talking about? It's not true, except for the part where they specifically say organizations that let you do this. Now, I wonder if the Black Panther Party had incorporated masks into their uniforms, would that still be up there?
Uses hoods as part of the rituals. Now, the state already banned some of the activities the KKK is known for, but are they banned from simply wearing hoods in public, even under this bill? We got different answers from Republicans, Democrats, and even free speech experts. But what they all agreed on, though, was that this bill does not have any new carve-outs for the KKK or similar groups. That's why.
Okay, it just protected the old carve-outs they had already. So, no, it's not a specific new carve-out. I guess that's what he's trying to say. It's just a new protection for an old carve-out before they had.
The Truth Meter rates this claim mostly false.
Yeah, so there you go. So this how you look at whether something is a fact or not. I guess that's how they word it. But anyway, you know why they do this? Because you have fools like this guy here. Let me see.
Okay, so a white American man by the name of Christopher Arthur, 40 years of age, from the state of North Carolina. He is a homegrown terrorist. And
Speaking of North Carolina, by the way,
he's also teaching people different tactics and things that they can do in order to take out law enforcement, politicians, federal agents, and things like that.
Now, I'm gonna play this again. Listen to what this white boy in North Carolina is doing, right? Now, his organization probably do got hoods involved, right?
People different tactics and things that they can do in order to take out law enforcement, politicians, federal agents, and things like that. Okay, this guy is a real terrorist or whatever, and he was training people at it. Now, he was just sentenced just recently, I believe about a week ago or two, to 300 months in prison. 300 months. And he was sentenced for, teaching people about hurting law enforcement and how to do it. He was a professional. He was trained. He was in the military. This dude was the real deal.
See, he was not the real deal. This brother was the real deal because he got it done. Because shouts out to Christopher Dorner. So this brother was definitely not the real deal. Right? He got 300 months in prison, but he was trying to teach people how to do it, I guess. Teach white boys how to do it.
He was a professional. He was trained. He was in the military. This dude was the real deal. Now, they started to look into this guy named Christopher Arthur in 2022 because there was a guy in New York who was in a shootout with the police. And the guy that was in a shootout...
Okay, that's 25 years.
...with the police in New York, took a L, he lost, he died. And after he died, they went and looked into this guy's past. They went and searched his home. And when they searched his place and searched the things that he had, they noticed that he had numerous IEDs or improvised explosive devices and firearms. And he also had multiple what's called tackleberry solutions, which is, tactical manuals that were created by this guy, Christopher Arthur, in his business. This guy's a professional. He had a business and everything. And he was the author. He was the one. Christopher Arthur is the author of this tackleberry solutions. He's the one that came up with this manual and things like that.
He's a professional European. And so he came up with a guide to, how to conduct warfare. You know what I'm saying? Being the professional European that he is,
Looked at this guy's cell phone, who was in a shootout with the cops in New York that died. And his phone revealed that he was trained by this guy, Christopher Arthur, in Mount Olive, North Carolina for multiple days in the year of 2020. So the Fed said, okay, we got to find out more about this guy, Christopher Arthur. So on March 19th of 2021, a confidential source, or a CS working with the FBI, requested training from Christopher Arthur. So this source went over there to Christopher Arthur's place in Mount Olive, North Carolina, and attended training on some explosives and things like that, getting all his introductory training materials and almost like a seminar type of thing with this dude.
See, right? They, I don't know how big his group, his organization is, or nothing like that, but it's like organizing, right? They have not only think tanks to figure out how to stop us from burning down their businesses and cities and arming ourselves to defend it, and having the whole community come out to have their back regardless of whatever, right? But they also have these little enclaves where they stock up on everything, right? And we'd be like, yo, like get water and like batteries and all of that stuff. If the power go out, like if the internet go out, like a lot of people is going to be done out here, you know what I'm saying? Or if there's no more food at the grocery store, you know what I'm saying? I'm not the best farmer out here in the world, or understanding that people can last like a day or two, but they also do these tactical drills or different things to stay in shape, so that if something ever go down, now naturally, like you usually remove pieces of their skull, right? Naturally, but you still want to be in shape and like be prepared and all of these stuff, and just the mindset, right? Where you understand that you all you got, and you got to protect what you build, and you build whatever you want, and you take whatever you need to build it,
Who was working for the FBI was at training at this dude, Christopher Arthur's Mount Olive, North Carolina home. So when this confidential source who was working for the FBI was talking to Christopher Arthur or being trained by him, he informed Christopher Arthur that he was there because he needed this training, because the ATF had came to his house and he expected them to come back again. So that was his whole fake story and his reason. That's why he told Christopher Arthur he needed this training. So Christopher Arthur said,
the white ponytail, bro, that's not my problem. But anyway, yo, because then you have like dudes like this fool here, right? What happened a couple of days ago. I don't know where this was, but this white boy here, they're not gonna talk about it on the news. You know, I don't really like playing his joint, but I'll play it, you know. But of course he'd be having a commercial too.
Goes to a store, tries to kill a black woman, put up the picture full mask. They were able to catch him. Hell of a story, a lot of twists and turns. So in Indiana, Richard Claff Jr. is now facing 3 counts of attempted murder for a shooting at a Kroger grocery store. Claff was live streaming the crime on Facebook. Sadistic, with millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable. We just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. Claff Jr. reportedly went live on a Facebook stream and told viewers he was going to shoot 11 people before walking from the store's bathroom to the common area. That's according to a probable cause affidavit written by Fort Wayne Police Detective Aaron Johnson. He brandished a gold and black handgun and told people watching to screen record the live stream. As he walked around the store, Claff Jr. asked which person he would shoot, court records show. As he walked past an elderly man, he could be heard saying, "I ain't going to kill an old man." The suspect continued walking around the store and showing the gun to viewers. "I'm going out with a bang," he said. Claff Jr. could then be heard saying, quote, "I see one," 5 times as he approached the store's bakery department, court documents say. The last time he said the phrase.
All right, so, you know, they pretty much don't, you know, it don't matter if they got hoods on or not, but, you know, you get the point, right? And this is just, you know, just the mindset now. Imagine this the other way around, you know, and this is why people be like, you know, you protect yourself and all of that. But just the mentality to do something like this.
And this one looks freshly made. Like all of this looks freshly made. $15. Do you know what year this one is?
It's not super old, but it is all fabric and paper. If there's anything on the bottom, it looks like it says 67.
And this one
So it was in 1967, right before what we was watching earlier.
is a matching set with that one. Yeah, they should be together.
Actually, no, these are.
Now, you know how weird this is? Like, do you think like black people would have all of these like weird dolls of like white people or Asians or anybody else? Like, we don't even like think about like because it's disgusting. Like, they are disgusting. Like, imagine that you just have a shop full of like weird white dolls or whatever, and you go collect this thing. Like, that shows like what kind of sick mentality, but you can't explain stuff to people like this, you know? Like, think about the mindset that you have to have, right? I couldn't imagine going to a store to get some like white doll or some white face doll. Like, that's stupid. Like, why would I want to see something like that, you know? But
They look
These
the
are salt
same.
peppers. Yeah, they do.
And that one is just.
Yep. This one's a little older. These are modern.
I like that. I don't know. There's a lot of white people next to me. I got nervous. So I think it's cute. Sorry.
I mean, think about it. Like, you have like weird white dolls with dirty faces and, you know, whatever the hell they do. you know. Like we don't even like know like just weird looking white dog. Like that's a sick obsession, you know what I'm saying? But oh yeah, so speaking of that, you know, before I get off of here, right? Now Malcolm X, right? It was Malcolm X's birthday not too long ago. Now it looks like Nebraska inducted him into the Hall of Fame. I don't know what that means, you know, but I'm gonna play it.
X was inducted into the Nebraska Hall of Fame.
Some people believe the honor was a long time in coming. John Chapman says there are people who worked for decades to help make this day possible.
Mrs. Rowena Moore founded the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation in 1971. Through her efforts, 16 years later, an historical marker was placed near the birth site of Malcolm X. Mrs. Moore played a major role for this moment in Nebraska history.
Our founder, Mrs. Rowena Moore, would be proud, but she would also say we've come a long way. Her mission was to make sure that Malcolm was recognized as being born in Omaha all across the country.
Malcolm X is now the 27th member and the first Black person inducted into the Nebraska Hall of Fame. Malcolm's daughter traveled cross-country to be here for this moment to make sure future generations understand the full story of her father's life and transformation.
Malcolm was in search of truth and you know, for the human family.
Wait, the human family? Like, yo, we still don't get it, do we? Like, the human family, what is she? No disrespect to her or whatever, you know.
Family.
It's not about her, it's about us as a whole.
In search of justice. He believed in our whole humanity. He believed that we were able to come together and, you know, live as a human family.
Nebraska.
And it's still, because we have hindsight of 60 years. She has, me and her and us here today have another 60 years of hindsight, 50 years or however many years of hindsight to see that that just does not work out very well, right? Even trees can't coexist peacefully with these fools, right? And all they do is provide, you know, shade and food and, you know, different things like that. And we think that we can, as a human family and people of color, and getting this hall, you know, inducted to the Hall of Fame, right, which doesn't come with anything else.
As a human family.
Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen made this moment an official day to celebrate Malcolm's induction into the state's Hall of Fame.
I, Jim Pillen, Governor of the great state of Nebraska, do hereby proclaim the 22nd day of May, 2024 as Malcolm X Day in Nebraska.
Executive Director of the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, Joanna Ejicki, led the effort to recognize Malcolm X and push to have him honored in Nebraska's Hall of Fame. And she tells us it was a long, hard road.
This is the third time he was selected.
Right. I mean, we all know how great Malcolm X was. But like, see, this is what they be like. They get like, well, we're coming to whatever. This is the equality. We tell you happy birthday. All right, let's see if they're going to put Christopher Dorner, so let's celebrate, make his birthday the holiday next, you know. But this is the side of it they're going to push, right? Not about how they had to take him out because he was coming for trying to whatever, you know.
Elected to be inducted.
Now we know now that we have no friends.
The next generation the proper way.
The Malcolm X Foundation is educating the next generation in its Education and Culture Center, and there are plans for the facility to grow. The organization has been awarded a $20 million grant to expand the center and build an outdoor amphitheater. And today's celebration.
They give them $20 million in Nebraska to build an amphitheater.
Launching point for that growth.
Malcolm's story and his encouragement and his life is really significant for youth,
all right, so you know, especially
in the next generation. So that
I want you to see this right now. This is a different place though, but now this is before So Illinois to pay reparations to Black residents over housing discrimination. Now, this was a specific thing that was going on in a specific neighborhood where they're going to give Black people of that area $25,000, right? But and this was happening like kind of last year. But now, when it comes to like something like this, like instead of a happy birthday, right? So now Evanston reparations program, they said it violates constitutional law. So and discriminating over in housing and all of that, they take it back.
Oh,
They be
Mr.
like,
Bed.
oops, my
And
bad.
this morning, we've got troubling reports of bed bug outbreaks across the of housing discrimination. Evanston's reparations program is facing a legal challenge. A conservative group called Judicial Watch has filed a federal lawsuit. The reparations program is meant to address decades of housing discrimination against Black residents. Now, 6 plaintiffs whose relatives once lived in Evanston are suing. According to the lawsuit, none of them nor their relatives are Black. The lawsuit argues that the people are awarded money based on race without having to prove they or their relatives
He said what?
are suing. According to the lawsuit, none of them nor their relatives are Black. The lawsuit argues that the people are awarded money based on race without having to prove they or their relatives experienced discrimination. The city of Evanston released a statement today saying it does not comment on pending litigation.
Right. So it ended up being a bunch of white people talking about they were discriminated against or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I want to show one more thing before I get off here. Y'all probably not going to want to see it, and I apologize. I just found it funny. I can't go all the way back to whatever without a little bit linking out, but I'm going to stay focused. And shouts out to Cassidra, who is out there. We're going to be back next week with a more serious conversation. And if anybody out there, if y'all still listening, if you want to say something or if you have anything else to say, or you want to say something, please let me know, and I'll put the chat link in the chat so you can come on. But I had to play this video, right, because I just found it a little funny, And I'm not gonna play all of it, just certain parts, a few minutes of it.
They're gonna bring out everything they can. White people not getting scrutinized in the media. Who? Aaron Rodgers just went in front of the whole world, lied to the world about his COVID card.
You think he didn't get scrutiny?
He still played the game. He didn't get fined. What scrutiny he got? He still did what he needed to do. You having success in the NFL and you a Black player, they're gonna scrutinize you. They're gonna bring out everything they can.
They're gonna scrutinize a white player.
I mean, tell me which white player got scrutinized to the point.
Roethlisberger. We just got done talking
Ben
about it.
Roethlisberger had 2 rape cases that really was a, you know what I'm saying, like a scenario.
Allegations.
It's
allegations, not.
The woman called the police, right? It
Yeah,
was
allegations, yeah.
But it was 2
All right, they filed a police report, right? Like he raped 2 girls.
preeminent cases.
Yeah.
But I feel like even with those cases, he didn't get scrutinized like all over when he came back. Matter of fact, let's put it like this: Ben Roethlisberger got suspended how many games after all this?
6, I thought.
No, he got 4 games, I think. 2010.
6 and
Look
then
it up.
reduced
Look it
to
up.
4. I think
Okay, so it was 4 games.
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger.
So he tried to say 6, and then he was like, "Oh, well, reduced to 4." So he got Ben Roethlisberger, who raped 2 white girls. He got 2 game suspension per rape, right? So I guess for him to miss a whole season, he'd have to rape like, you know what I'm saying, like what, 8 white girls to miss 16 games. I don't know.
Roethlisberger got suspended 4 games for 2 rape cases. What else public scrutiny he got? Like, you know what I mean? This brought that case. Antonio Brown was getting scrutiny in 2011 when he started like going for 1,100 yards. Now it's all of a sudden, I had my kid living with me since 2011 in Pittsburgh. The whole organization know my son, Antonio Brown Jr., live with me. Right when we go to the playoffs, you can look it up. The first public scrutiny was about, oh yeah, my baby mama drama with his kid. But that's normal. You know, you in the media, Black players is scrutinized more than white players, right?
He was like, "No, I get it. Now I'm not justifying either one of these fools, but I just was tripping off of this. I'm sorry." you know, I couldn't let y'all go without any foolishness. Since you know, considering I here today, I had to let go some of my foolishness out.
Scrutinize more, or do
He said this black player scrutinize more. Listen to this, we talking about some.
scrutinize more, or do we do more?
I mean, I know your fans are the white people. I mean,
No.
Being
Hey,
real.
I get you. That's your perspective, but that's not true.
So why is it not true?
Because I just stick to the facts.
So let me hear the facts. Why is it not true? Michael Vick.
By the way, when they stick to the fact with that white golfer dude, like they was like, oh, they was ready. He almost got that wake up call, but he gonna fight hard to keep it though.
Had a case. Was Michael Vick scrutinized more than Bill Roethlisberger, or Roethlisberger was scrutinized more?
I don't even want, but you know, it is what it is. Everybody get paid off of it.
Two different.
Every time you know the answer, you keep saying, I'm doing whatever that is, but.
And Bill Roethlisberger or Roethlisberger was scrutinized more?
Two different situations.
Yeah, one of them actually like raped people, right? One of them like violated, you know, actual. I can't say humans, but like the other chick said the human family, but he actually like took whatever he wanted from people, and they accused his brother of being around. The brother Michael Vick wasn't even in the building, you know what I'm saying? And he's still apologizing and tap dancing to this day, right? Because he violated you know. And I got a dog, but we all know how they have a different relationship with dogs than we do.
Who get more scrutiny?
Man, that's tough. That's hard to judge.
Any white guys ever get their baby moms talked about? You know, Tom got a baby mom.
Yeah.
Does he get baby mom drama about his child support or what he paid?
I did not know that Tom Brady got a baby mama. So
well, here's what I would say. A lot of times, and again, what's the mama doing? Because the mama controls a lot of conversation.
What?
She's out here talking on social
I'm asking
media.
this, black players get more scrutiny than white players. It's a takedown in the media against black players constantly. It's no takedown on the white player. It's no white media that's taking down white players. It's black media that take down black players. It's the shade room. It's all these scenarios that make black people look out of the character. So it's a media perception of them. So when I go to try to meet people, they think I'm a lot crazier or a lot more aggressive, a lot more combative than what it is because the media perception. Because that's a perception that's not reality, that's created by the media. Who are media? It's white media, right?
There's a lot of blacks in media now.
I know, but who is media ran by?
Oh, well, now you really want to open up a can.
Asking.
Well, I don't want to go there today.
I want to go there.
He's wanted to say the shysters, but they're white, bro. They're white people or white whatever's. You know, whatever y'all going, Neanderthals.
We gotta go there. That's what I'm saying. We could be able to talk truths and realities. That's where I get back to my point of Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is a feminine girl who's hot.
What?
Angel Reese is a
feminine. Where?
A girl that's hot. But who is the media putting more news behind? Who is the media putting more scrutiny behind?
Okay, hold for a second. That's a
I'm asking.
no, let me answer. So you do realize Caitlin Clark is the far better player.
Why she's the better player? Because she's the
false.
Most. I'm asking you.
Two-time national champion, led the country in scoring
She
and
never won a
assists.
champion. That's individual. You're not a champion. It's a difference between
Angel Reese. A team that's not that talented.
Yeah, but
back-to-back
Angel Reese is
championship
6'3". She get buckets in the paint. She's a bigger girl.
games. Who would you rather watch play?
It depends what you like. If you like a hot 6'1" Redskin girl from Baltimore who looks good, who dominate the paint and make free throws, who get buckets. If you want an explosive, like shooting guard, explosive Caitlin Clark, it's two different things. It depends on what you like. But there's a lot of
winners or not
Angel
winners.
Reese.
I'm gonna give you an example. It's like, who would you rather watch? AB or Steve Largent?
That's a bad comparable now. You're going too crazy.
I'd rather watch AB, more exciting. It's like Steve Largent put up numbers.
First off, it's women's basketball.
I got you.
Angel Reese is hot, first off, and she's tall. That the team paid for. The team is running marketing for the. There's no difference. They're both two hot women who great in basketball. They should get the same exposure. They should get the same opportunities to put the game on a high. Black media is a takedown on black people being great in the media and white people getting a chance to be great. Just like is it Tom Brady and Ben Roethlisberger. They never had people talking about their personal families or their personal dramas or them getting sued. I'm sure they're getting sued. I'm sure they were sued before, but you never heard it talk about it. You never heard of Ben Roethlisberger settle out for $11 million, or he keep getting dragged about it. You don't never see people write articles to talk about it.
She's definitely not a better player. If you like losers, she's better at losing. We're talking, but if we're speaking about champions, we can put her on the conversation.
Why was that?
Ben was dragged pretty hard. I'm
asking
gonna circle. We're not gonna run from that. We're not gonna. But I just want to Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, because there's
why
a lot.
Is Angel Reese not getting her game on TV, and she's a champion?
You remember
why is
Heath
she not
Miller?
getting that opportunity? Of course, I know.
You know how much more of exciting of a player you were than Heath Miller?
Heath Miller was a dog. He was exciting.
Was he as exciting as you?
No, but listen,
not even close.
We can't beat players down.
I'm not beating him down.
Based on their excitement. Every player, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, is at the same level coming into WNBA. Fresh sheets. No matter what you did in college, that's over. You going to the next level, it's to be determined. They should be on even playing field. And that's why when Angel Reese had a press conference, a little bit of people came. When Caitlin Clark had a time. Know why AB was getting trade to feel low. That's reality.
So all the attention AB got, because at one time.
Unfortunately, too many Negroes say the same thing.
Great. If I wasn't being great at doing something that was astoundingly great, I wouldn't be able to get.
You don't think Caitlin Clark is being great?
Not at all.
She's being great, accomplishing stats for herself. She never won the championship.
Never won. See, that's what they don't really want to. But this selfish European.
That's real.
Basically had back-to-back Super Bowl appearances. This is like you sitting here.
Don't matter.
Don't give
Mr.
Thurman
Willock,
Thomas.
Mr.
Don't give Thurman
Willock,
Thomas
you know
no credit.
what people like in
Don't
sports. People love Tom Brady. Why? Because he's a champion. He's a winner.
Do you like Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith?
Those
Jim
guys
Kelly?
was good guys. They did good in Buffalo.
They're all in the Hall of Fame.
Of course. But you got to be
4
champion.
straight Super Bowl appearances.
That don't mean nothing. Angel Reese is a champion. Champions should get respect for more than people who's not winning. You know about some championship basketball players who never won?
Championship players.
Or receivers or anybody who never won.
Like Charles Barkley didn't win a NBA title.
So he can't get in those Super Bowl
can't say
winners,
nothing
winning
about
in rooms that,
none of that,
Angel
right?
Reese should get in. So
she can't get in those rooms, right? Where the real winners are.
As a champion and as a black athlete, we need to get more exposure. We need to talk about this. Cause imagine the trauma that Angel Reese is feeling when she feeling like, dang, why? That is trauma.
She made millions at LSU.
No matter what you make, you think money.
She's super popular right now.
You think money determine how you feel or your well-being? You think money make your well-being?
No, but I also don't think more adulation, more TV camera makes.
No, listen.
Now, by the way, he does all of this, and that white girl got all of them endorsement deals. I don't know why, because she lost, and he still sit up there and talk about victim, but we already know why. But anyway, so
as a human being, it's trauma when you see someone else being treated better than you, when you done as the same or more great things in that person. As a human being, when you're seeing you're being treated negligent than someone else and you doing the same thing, that is trauma. That is trauma.
I guess
Imagine how Andrew Reed feels. She come from LSU, these big programs, and done so much and worked so hard to put her face out there to be a champion, and she go to the game, it's not even put on TV because they're showing Caitlin Clark game. You don't think that's a slap in the face to her to make it seem like she's better than her? Because that's what the media does when they do stuff like that. That's pretty much telling her as a woman, as a human, you're not good enough. This person is better than you. That's why we showed that. That's trauma. Dealing with those type of things where people is making you feel like you're not worthy. Like when I drop a ball, I get anxiety. Like my balls start sweating, my hands start sweating. I get real nervous because like my mama always say like, that's like her bill money. When the ball come, that's me you feel me? I gotta pay my mama bill when I get it. So when I drop it, I get anxiety. Like you don't think that could cause anxiety? A girl like Angel Reese seeing Caitlin Clark getting it.
If that's the way she's wired.
But that's what I mean. See, the media go back to black people supposed to be more tougher than them. You supposed to just be able to handle that scrutiny, right? If that's how she wired. This is a human being. It no wire. This natural feeling. If you walk in the building.
There's never been a white person who isn't.
I'm asking you in media, tell me.
There's never been a white person, a white wide receiver who didn't get as much attention as AB.
By the way, and this is like with the white dude was in Philadelphia. I remember he was sitting there calling people N-word, probably a black woman called her an N-word and all that. And then the dude, Deshaun Stevenson, he did the same thing before Kyrie Irving. He sent out a tweet or something about Jews or something like that. And they went off on him too. And they traded him and kept the white boy, even though he was trash and was way better than him. That's just how it works, But, you Negroes just shut up and dribble,
Or as much attention as Calvin Johnson or whatever. There's never been a white wide receiver that sits in history. Man, I should be getting more attention. I should be celebrated the way so-and-so else is. I mean, because
they don't have to worry about that, Mr. Willock. You know that white people not getting scrutinized in the media. Who? Aaron Rodgers just went in front of the whole world, lied to the world about his COVID card.
You think he didn't get scrutiny?
He still played the game. He didn't get fined. What scrutiny he got? He still did what he needed to do. AB COVID card was supposedly fake. No one cleared the narrative. Aaron Rodgers lied, bro. You supposed to get suspended. You lied on the court of public speaking to the NFL media. Hey, man, I had my COVID. They found out he never had nothing. Did something happen to him? No.
He got a lot of heat from the media. A lot of people in the media don't like him.
No, listen, Aaron Rodgers cheated the whole system.
How?
If you lie on the COVID card, bro, that's
he didn't lie on the COVID card.
If you lie on the COVID card, that's susceptible to a federal offense, right? Was that not a rule? Pull it up on Google since you guys don't know. Let's pull up the facts. Pull up the facts. If you lied to a public court of your COVID card, is that not a...
He didn't lie. He
did lie. He said he had it and it didn't. That's a lie, no?
He said he was immunized or something.
So that's a lie. That's a lie. He said he was immunized. Whatever lie he told, he lied.
He lied to the media.
Of
course.
He
didn't lie to the NFL.
The NFL is the media. You guys work for the NFL. You run the media for the NFL or no?
No, not true.
So when you guys come and meet in media and do all
exactly, they want you to feel better, but we all know they losers and they can't do nothing.
all that, you guys don't work for the NFL? The media don't run the NFL business?
But lie and cheating still.
I mean, you got to understand, there's people.
I understand, man. Everybody can't speak the truth. You represent companies. You can't just, be independent. I can speak the truth. I don't represent companies. I represent myself and CTE, ESPN Network, and we need to focus on these topics of athletes being able to share their experience. And we need to ask Angel Reese, cover her games and see how she feel about being a great champion in college and doing great things and not being treated as other people,
right,
because as a human being, that's not fair. Right. To see that you work hard and you do all these things and other people get opportunities before you, or they get showed off before you. And that's not fair to people as humans to feel like you deserve the same opportunity and you're going to get the same opportunity, which you don't. And that's why we started these networks, so we could talk to athletes, how they feel, especially black athletes who get this scrutinized, who get this scrutiny, who get this criticism, who get this, media right in their perspective for what they think, and it's always negative. Nobody talk about, the great things that I do, what I'm saying, on a daily basis, or, the great things black people do on a daily basis. I feel like that's why we need to, have these topics and cover these bases, because it is hard when you're a black athlete and you're doing great things. The media gonna be extra hard on you. They're gonna cover you hard and they're gonna scrutinize you hard based on that position.
All right, Shut Up and Dribble. Is brought to you by Shut Up and Dribble. But also, let me see. All right, yeah, this is pretty much the last words we want to
Some militants tried to justify the riot. 18 wounded. Ventura was.
He says, if my gun went to you white honky, you. He says, if my gun went to jam, he says, I'd have killed you, more of you.
The gun battle triggered.
Hold on.
Was the first to make contact with Evans when he surrendered.
When we understood.
You white honky, you. He says, if my gun went to jam, he says, I'd have killed you, more of you.
The guns and 63 business days, $18 million in damage in today's dollars. And yet, some militants tried to justify the rioting.
And looting and burning will continue as long as the white merchants are in the community exploiting the black community.
All right, so there you go. And while that is happening,
You are not bringing money. No, hey, do not be aggressive.
what the world?
Are you fucking serious?
Right, this one playing crazy. I don't know what happened just now. John messed all the way up. But, you know, this was supposed to be what he was saying. Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely harmful to the community as a fact, you know. And, you know, this is what happens, you know, you show whatever, you know. I saw this
You are
before,
not
but
bringing money. No, hey, do not be aggressive.
do not be aggressive.
Are you fucking serious?
Now, the whole time, though, no lie, though. It's funny and all, but the brother hitting the ground. He ain't even hitting them, though. And see, that's the thing about black people. We gonna hit the ground, but we ain't gonna, you know, and forget all of that. You know what I'm saying? It's time for us to get it. It's time for us to wake up and understand that we got no friends, and at the end of the day, we all we got, right? And they can't understand anything else, right? We the ones that need the education about all of this stuff, right? So hopefully we wake up and we get it, but I have no idea. So even in this situation, them brother hitting the ground, and not necessarily them. Chase them out of there, but you know. But this is the positive thing for today, so we just gonna enjoy it.
You are not bringing money. No, hey, do not be aggressive. Are you fucking serious?
All right, so I appreciate y'all for coming through today. You know, for those of you who was out there, cause shouts out to Cassidra, you know, who's out there, had to go take care of business, you know, do what she do. When we're gonna be back on here next week, you know, I had to come on here and represent and hold it down. But Cassidra will be back next week, and best believe you already know that Cassidra is going to go in. So y'all support Cassidra and what she's doing, because she's out there really like making moves and trying to make it happen, you know. So y'all really gotta y'all support her. And shouts out to her. We're gonna be back next week at 8:30. Shouts out to Chris S. I appreciate it. As my first time seeing the brother in the chat. Appreciate you for coming through. Raw, always appreciate you for coming through. Well, yeah, you already know, man. Brother Roy O, I appreciate you, my brother. It's been a minute, man. How you been, my brother? Appreciate you coming through. My brother Anthony, yeah, I meant to hit you up the other day. I just forgot. I've been busy, man. But I appreciate you, my brother Anthony, for coming through. William Bell, appreciate you for coming through and sending all of the stuff that you were sending. Shouts out to my brother DeMarcus. He's been following for a minute and still coming through. Glad you finally caught a live one. But I appreciate all of y'all for listening. And like I said, man, we're gonna be back more on some learning from our mistakes and getting better. And that's why I was like, let me just say this. I will get back to more focused stuff like I used to be when I first came on here, doing what I have to do and the stuff that I want to show, teach, and learn and represent and put out there. I'm going to get back to what I was doing in the first place, and make it more productive around here. And shouts out to Cassidra for helping me do that. So I appreciate all of y'all for listening. And I'm going to let this sister here say the last words.
Thank you, brothers and sisters, for that welcome. And thank you for this opportunity to talk with you this evening. I thought a great deal about what's happening to our children in public schools. Now, most of the time when I come over here, that's what I talk to you about, because that's really where my life is centered. But it occurred to me that Alton's been in this struggle, and I'm very concerned about how we're progressing in it. So I thought a lot about it, sisters and brothers, and titled what I want to share with you tonight called Black People Still Don't Get It. All right. For some time now.
Yeah, thank you, Cassidra. But it's like she said, man, we still don't get it. But we will one day, hopefully, what I'm saying? We will make progress and get there. So shouts out to Cassidra in the building. Like I said, we're gonna be back next Wednesday at 8:30. So appreciate y'all. Y'all subscribe to Matron's channel too. She doing great readings. Shouts out to her for reading Ida B. Wells' book. Both of them, the Lynch Law. So y'all go back and listen to Lynch Law by Ida B. Wells, and also The Mob Rule in New Orleans that she just finished reading today. It's a 3-part, and the other one is a 1-part. So y'all listen to that. She does a great job, and y'all subscribe to her. So as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're gonna keep falling for anything.